our town. Dorothy Thompson speaking to you from the Richland Center City Arboretum, a place of trees and the perfect place to find out about our city forest. We'll talk to Tess Barr Hamblin, the city forester, and we'll find out about this and other trees and forests right here in Richland Center.
We are here at the beautiful Welcome to the Richland Center Arboretum on a very soupy Tuesday, the 27th of August. Tess Barr Hamlin is the forester for Richland Center. Welcome, or you're welcoming me or something.
Hi.
We're here at the Arboretum. A lot of people don't even know about this place.
Right, it's kind of tucked back from the road a little, but it is a really nice, relaxing spot.
Do you know how many people visit this at field trips?
I don't.
I don't either. Looks like we need a little bit of rain or fall's coming on or something, but...
Yeah, the crab apples, we have a lot of those, and they tend to kind of start dropping leaves early, and they're really beautiful out here in the spring when they're all in bloom. You can see them even from the highway.
Think they have the white blossoms?
Some of them do. We've got some with the really deep pink as well.
Yes. Yep. And how many acres is this?
It's about 5 acres.
And there are these trails back there that run along the pine that I didn't even know about till probably 3 or 4 years ago. They go from, Seminary Street all the way... Actually, don't they connect up to the path and you just walk forever?
I believe so.
Yeah, all the way to the bike trail.
Yeah, the bike trail actually runs
Oh yeah,
through here.
through here. Here it is.
Yep.
And there's seminary over there. So there's a plaque here for Fred Kennecke, and he must have...
He was the city forester for 6 years and was also part of establishing our tree ordinance and tree board.
And you're on the tree board?
I am the forester, which means I'm sort of part of the tree board, but the tree board is made up of several council members, and we have a citizen member as well.
Okay. When are those meetings?
We are having them about quarterly, so our next meeting, I believe, is September 18th.
What time of day?
It's at 5.
On what day?
It's a Wednesday, I believe.
Okay.
Yep, we're trying to, for a while there weren't a lot of meetings happening, so we're trying to kind of get back to having them a little more frequently.
Well, can we go over to one of the trees and just talk about the different varieties?
Sure, you want to see one of my favorites?
Yes, of course.
It doesn't look like much. It's kind of small, but it's really cool.
I think I know which one it is. I kind of forget about this side of the parking lot. I knew it.
The Dawn Redwood.
Wow. Yeah, it's kind of furry,
Yep.
or it's not prickly. And
So this is one of only a few types of deciduous conifers. Which means it loses all its needles. It is not an evergreen, even though it's a conifer. So the others, there's larch, tamarack, and ginkgo is actually technically a conifer.
It is?
Yep.
And the name of this again?
This is a Dawn Redwood. Metasequoia is the botanical name. There's a tag in here.
Where's the plaque? Oh, it's hidden.
Hidden in there.
Redwood Dawn, Metasequoia. Okay. 100 feet tall, 25 wide, deciduous, full sun, fast growing. Where is this? Is this kind of out of its neighborhood, or where's this?
Yeah, I actually wasn't sure that it was hardy here, but it's been growing for a few years. It's actually, this tree is seen in the fossil record, so this is actually a prehistoric tree. And I believe it's native to Asia.
Okay.
But it's really cool. The needles turn a really cool yellow color, and when they catch the sun in the fall, it's like just glows.
Wow.
So this is one of my favorites.
How old is this particular? How long has this been here?
Don't know. I don't know if this was planted when the Arboretum was started, which was 2003, or if it's more recent than that. I'm not sure when it went in.
So it looks like it has quite a ways to grow. If this plaque is correct, I'm sure it is.
And I've seen full-size ones, and yeah, they get very large, and they get, I don't know if you've ever seen trees with those knees, they call them.
Yep.
They get those, which won't be fun for mowing.
No, but that's...
But it's a really cool thing to see, so.
It is unusual to see this type of tree dropping its needles, or yeah.
Some people panic that they're
I'm
sick
sure.
or dying.
Yep.
But as long as you know it's that type of tree, it's doing what it's supposed to do.
Are these all over town?
I'm not sure. I know there's, larches are, I believe, native to the area, which also drop needles like that, so.
All right, this looks like, you said a common hackberry. So what's that about? What's it do?
It's a nice big shade tree. It's got some interesting bark texture and leaves. It grows pretty quickly, pretty tall. Makes a good street tree as well as a good tree for a shady yard.
People like fast-growing trees generally.
Yeah.
Are they the fastest though to die, or the sooner?
Not necessarily. Sometimes, but not necessarily. Oftentimes they're going to be your larger trees. But it's, when you plant a tree, you want to be able to see it become something within your lifetime. Some of those slow-growing ones.
Like an oak?
Yeah, you're not.
No.
Never going to see it get to be its full size, as beautiful as they are.
100+ years probably, or whatever it is. I'm thinking of the weeping willows grow quickly, but they tend not to live 100 years.
They have a lot of breakage issues, and
How is this for disease resistance?
they are pretty disease resistant. They do get some, you can probably see it on here. This is something called nipple gall. It's just a bug that makes these little galls in the leaves. It actually doesn't usually harm the tree at all, but it is something that is
They're just
very
kind of
common.
camping out there?
Yep, they're just there. You may lose a few leaves to it, but it's something the trees usually just live with.
Yeah. I had brought up before about trees you don't really see as often, like chestnuts. I think of that poem, Under the Spreading Chestnut Tree, the village smithy stands. But enough of that poetry stuff. But what, are there any chestnuts here?
Let me check my map.
Check your, now where do you get these maps, by the way?
So you can actually get these at the community center. They have these pamphlets that's got a map. It lists the different sections of the Arboretum, and then within those sections it lists what trees you can find in each section.
Okay.
So
How often is that updated if a tree kind of decides to...
It probably hasn't been updated for a while.
Well, is this online somewhere?
Yes, it's also on the city website. There's
Okay.
a link to it.
Okay.
If you go under the Parks Department part of the website, and there's an Arboretum tab.
What else do we have around here?
Chestnuts. There's a cool area that way with oaks that has like a bunch of different oaks next to each other. So you
wow,
can
let's go look.
Yeah.
And we're in an area of a oak section, oak neighborhood.
Yeah, so if you're interested in oaks and seeing kind of the differences between different types of oaks, this is a neat area where it's got a nice variety of oaks that grow here. Pin oak, red oak, bur oak.
I remember all those from biology class. The leaves are supposed to look like your hand or something like that.
Yep. And all the different types really do have kind of different leaf shapes, and you can see.
So these are three, well, at least three.
Yeah, I think that one's a bur oak down there.
We can walk to each one here. What is?
This is a pin oak.
So when this was developed, obviously some of these trees had to have been here.
Yeah, you can see there's some very large cottonwoods. Now, previous to this being the Arboretum, it was a lumber yard. It was storage for the utilities, so it was a space that was in use for other things. It was not just native
what is
forest
that
land.
giant?
That's a cottonwood.
That's been there for quite a while.
Yep. Those can get to be very large trees. But I know that because of the previous uses of this site, there are some soil issues. Some trees have established better than others, so you can kind of see what does well in maybe some less than ideal conditions.
Yeah. Maples seem to be fairly fast growing, I think, depending on what type.
Yeah, they can be, and they're a really popular tree, especially the ones that produce really beautiful fall color, like the sunset maples. We have been asked by the DNR to avoid planting a lot of maples because they are such a popular thing that individuals like to plant, so we are trying to balance that a little bit with other varieties of trees as we're planting in boulevards and in our parks.
Though I don't think those live to be decades long. They don't seem to be.
Not the sugar maples. The silver maples can get to be pretty large and old.
Well, this looks like another tree that drops its needles.
This is a bald cypress, which is somewhat similar to the dawn redwood in that it drops its needles. You can see it's got these really beautiful fine needles and a really nice red bark texture.
I see it's tall. It's getting to be, what is the height expected there? 40?
70 foot.
70, okay.
Yep. And it is a tree that grows well in wet areas.
Are these around town? I don't really see a lot of them, but
I don't think there's a lot of them around town. I believe these are more common to the south in the swampy areas. But clearly they can grow pretty happily here.
and here's a,
Oh yeah, a cone. Yeah, and here's a little bit bigger one. That's really all they don't get much bigger than that. They'll turn brown.
who maintains this? Well, the city does, but
The city does. We mow it and weed eat it and get to pruning it when we can. It's a lot of trees to manage.
how do you use a riding mower around here? You have to duck?
Yep. Circles and duck. Most of them are trimmed to a height where we can get under them fairly easily, but it takes a little bit of skill and practice.
Well, you'd have to know about proper pruning too.
Yep, that's really important. Especially when removing limbs. If you cut them too long, they're not going to heal properly. You got to cut them right inside the branch collar. I can show you.
Well, stuff I don't know too much about.
So you can see how this one has started to scar around the cut.
Yeah.
So you actually want to cut it so that it leaves this swelling around the branch, like here. You want to cut it inside that swelling, or outside of it, sorry, so that it's able to heal like that around the cut.
What if you cut it, let's say, an inch or two out? Is that bad news too?
Yeah, that's not ideal because it's not going to be able to heal up fully around your cut. It's just going to leave a stub.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes even those, cutting it that way, if you've ever seen trees where somebody's hacked a branch and then it's sprouted a bunch of branches
Yes.
from the base of where they cut, that's because the stub was left too long.
All right. So you mentioned the DNR site, Wisconsin DNR, trees
Yep.
that should or could be planted and trees that maybe shouldn't?
Yeah, they have a list of trees that they recommend that we use for when we're selecting our boulevard trees to add, as well as trees in our parks. They've got some lists that kind of specify height and size and what trees are best suited for those street trees. And then as well as nice park trees that they recommend, so that their goal is to get a good diversity of trees in our communities, so that if we get hit with another tree disease like we had the emerald ash borer or Dutch elm disease that wiped out so many trees, that's the goal with having a good diversity of trees, is you're not going to lose an entire street of trees if you have a nice range of different varieties.
Yeah. Do you work with, does someone from the DNR state, like out of Madison, come here and at times?
We have a DNR representative, Brian Wall, who works with our region.
Okay.
And so I contact him with questions. He's a really great resource for us. He comes by once in a while. I've met him in person a few times, and sometimes they have trainings that are available for foresters and other employees.
Now, originally you are from Oregon?
Yep, the state of Oregon.
Okay, how's the weather out there today?
I'm not sure today, but it's been really hot this summer there.
What area?
I was from the Salem area, which Salem's the state capital. It's there in the Willamette Valley, near Portland.
Yeah, it can get hot. Yes, it can.
Summers are very hot and dry. We have a lot of wildfire problems even there, closer to the city. Winters are much milder, but very, very wet.
Mm-hmm.
And I grew up in a small town outside of Salem. So I worked in Portland for a while, lived sort of near Portland.
Mm-hmm. And you are named Tess after the novel by
Tess
Thomas
of the
Hardy.
Yep.
So your parents must have been into literature.
Yeah, my mom was a teacher. My dad has a master's in English. So
Really? Well.
So they really enjoyed books. I believe that was the first book my dad gave to my mom, so that's how I ended up with that name.
Yeah, it's not a real cheerful novel sometimes.
It's not, no.
Do you have siblings?
I have a brother, and I have a half-brother and a half-sister.
And are they named after novels?
My brother is named Dylan after Dylan Thomas.
Of course, yeah.
My older siblings are not named after literary.
Dylan Thomas. I need to read more of his poetry.
Uh-huh. My dad's a big fan of his. So.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I guess we covered everything, literature and bark and trees and everything, but it's getting to be like Houston out here, so I think we're going to cut it short.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Tess.
Yeah, no problem.
Come and visit the Arboretum. Yes, we have an Arboretum in Richland Center.
Well, the trees are starting to look a little bit autumnish, and we hope you'll come back next week and every week to watch our town. And don't forget to be involved in the community. The fair is coming up, other activities, and we'll see you there and perhaps here next week.